about a little bit over 2 days ago. There were obviously the terror attack in New Orleans that everybody already heard about by now, and we had two Israeli tourists, not locals, that were visiting from Israel. Did a trip for a month and a half and ended up going to New Orleans on New Year's Eve. Basically, stumbled by accident to the scene where the attack happened. Both of them injured in different severities. One was injured much more severe with head trauma, internal injuries, and also limb injuries. The second one, his friend, was more moderate with limb injuries, but also some internal damages. The one that is in more crucial situation, they're trying to stabilize. He already been two operations in his head, and we're hoping that the next few days will decide and determine that he's gonna survive it. We hope and pray for that, actually. And the second patient, second injured Israeli, has been through also two different surgeries in his limbs, and he seems much more stable, communicative, and responsive. And we hope and we see much progress over the last 48 hours. They came after a long time being serving as soldiers in Israel in the war, and they got a leave that they can go and just a little freshen up and take their mind out of things. And that was the purpose for them to come here and to travel. They were supposed to end their travel in Florida, meeting their uncle, and again, unfortunately, it didn't happen. But the uncle came to them to visit, and alongside him, the rest of the family flew in from Israel. It took them about 38 hours to come from Israel, but they came, and I saw them yesterday in the hospital, and everybody's excited, hopeful, and actually thankful for the medical staff for everything that they do and did till now, because they performed beautifully. And so I was in contact with the minute I heard that there were Israeli citizens that were injured. I took a plane from Houston, where the consulate general is, and came to New Orleans. I spoke to the federal authorities alongside with other agencies. What we know till now, that it wasn't an attack against Israelis or Jewish people specifically. It was an attack against Americans, against tourists from all over the world, to see how they can how the perpetrator can inflict as much damage as possible, and unfortunately kill as much people as possible. They were in the line of the ramming path, and they were hit by the ramming quite in the beginning. So it's an unfortunate irony that we face it in the Middle East and Israel day in, day out, all the time, prior to October 7th, but a lot after October 7th. And I think that they definitely did not expect it to have a terror attack in the French Quarter in New Orleans and the New Year's Eve. But if you read the signs, and when I say read the signs, I'm talking about the actual plaque. When people demonstrate and say globalized intifada, and we say the West is next. So it's important to read that, and it's important to understand that people are not just saying that. People are actually rooting and wanting violence. People wanting to kill, people wanting to cause damage, and wanting to cause terror. And we see that more and more around the world. We see it happening in the U.S. and we saw it in the past, but this situation is something that every time raising a question: why is it happening right now? What caused this? So nothing new caused this. There's simple hatred that we face in Israel every day for many years, and I think that the West, mainly our greatest ally, the U.S., seeing so much hateful rhetoric, so much demonstrating against the West, against America, against Israel, saying loud and clear that they want to export the violence from the Middle East towards the U.S. And we saw it happening. I think that the main message that we see from Israel towards the U.S. is just to be firm by any action, by any means necessary. Meaning that if you want to distinguish a fire, you don't distinguish 80% of it. You distinguish 100%, because the other 20% will rise again and will inflict more fire and more damage later. We see in Israel that in order to eradicate terror, we need to focus on it. We need to deal with it. And I've been in communication with the authorities here. They are well aware that they're acting accordingly. The FBI and other agencies are helpful and tremendously assisting us in this time. And I hope that the American people will better understand that we're facing something that is mutual. The threat is mutual. It's not only our part in the world, but it's a global threat. And in this situation, you have to be firm. You have to do anything and everything possible to take out that threat. Well, Houston, the city is a wonderful city, but we saw in recent year there was the information that was disclosed to the public, two different arrests of people that crossed the border with the aim of hurting Israelis and Jewish community, also mainly the Israeli consulate in Houston. So we think about it as Israelis because we face it every day. That for every person you catch, there's people that you don't catch, and then what happens with that? It's possible. I just want to say thank you very much to the medical staff in Louisiana, to the authorities here, and of course the Jewish community that's been so welcoming and so extremely supportive of the families that's going through a rough time, a very difficult time, and of course the injured Israelis. They're here. We've seen them every day, coming up with food, helping with lodging, assisting with traveling from one place to another. It's true solidarity. We see that from the New Orleans local people, also of course from the Jewish community. That is about 12,000 people. It's a very small community, but very vibrant and connected community. So thank you for that. And us in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we will do whatever it takes to support and to help and aid every Israeli in need, no matter where is it and no matter what happened to him or her. We do it all over the world, and that's part of our role as diplomats